Hello, good evening. Watchlist for March 12th. Just gonna wait for the live stream to pop up on my end. Good to go. So, start off here. Overall markets continue to pull on back. Down from the 16s down to 550s. So we're at 10% there on the SPY. I believe Qs pulled back a bit more than 10% in the 540s and the 460s. Yeah, so we're at like 13% or so on the Qs. So overall markets continue to pull back. But what we got today was a bit of a capitulation trade. If you recall, this 155's breakdown trade was what I was looking for on Reddit. Once we got the close below it, 1, 2, 3 days, pull right to 100. Wish I could say I lasted to $100, but I did not. But what we did get was that downside parabolic daily, some volume, capitulation volume right there into close, along with some sped up price action, losing $8 a share in the last few minutes. So ideally, A plus was looking for that gap down reactive trade for the reversal. Not so much parabolic, but gap down reactive. And what we got was a flat open, slightly green, but different than the last 3 days of so we got that 1, 2, 3 days gap down, not going green. So today was the first day gapping up, holding green. I let it show some strength off of open. Was cursing the computer this morning, thinking might have got away from me. I think I should take a starter in this case in like these 108s, 109s, and just risk wide, maybe towards 105s or 103, something like that. But I didn't, which I think was a mistake. So I let it push, pulled, and bought the higher low. Was not using low at day, was using like red to green 107 over under as a guide. Had locked some in, rescaled, sized down, scaled, and then locked it all into the 120s. So it was trading a bit around a core there off the open. Was this entry thought process was I wanted to swing it, but with Trump's tariff news that came out right around here, made the name really choppy. SPY started pulling back like crazy and fading off to lows. So I didn't know how much that would affect Reddit. This does not look like strong price action. If you're thinking you're trading with me off the open and you're seeing something like this, you get a nice strong move, and then you get this volume coming in, hard crack, lower highs, filled fall through, VWAP stays heavy. That's not typically bullish price action. Bigger picture, I do think that this had room to go. Zooming out and just trading off of a daily chart, I do think this still has room to bounce. But given the CPI coming out in pre-market tomorrow, I typically like to hold my swings till market open. And the tariff and Trump news along with SPY's weakness, I just decided not to take the swing approach. It does look good. I do think odds favor a gap up continuation, but given the current market environment I chose to avoid that risk. What else we got? Palantir finally did break this 79 level, 79, $80. We got this higher low. So we got this higher low multi-day structure here off a 79.80 base. Once that gave way, we're now coming up and retesting it. So for continued weakness on this name, if you're looking for a short-sided trade, you'd want to see this 70-80 exhaust and continue to fail to follow through. If this now remounts $80, then this is just a flush and reclaim. Similar thing to what Reddit did right here, where you get that 155 break and remount, but it didn't reclaim the looking left 170s and was able to fail to follow through. If it reclaimed, that's not what you wanted to see for further fade. So if this breaks and doesn't retest and fail the 80s, but starts to remount these 90s, that's not what you'd want to see for lower prices. So I'm going to wait for more information on that one. See if it fails to follow through. I see we got Chris, Tina, Chives. What's going on, guys? GV, I have this one on watch. A bit of a choppy multi-day structure. Not super A+, but I do think it was notable the failed fall through level here from day 1 that was over under key on day 2, prior top on day 3, and then parabolic right up into it and failed day 4. So that 620s I think is key. Any parabolics up into it, I think reactive for micro pullbacks for a few minutes, maybe pullbacks to VWAP, something like that. But given where most of the volume has traded down here, sub 3, we did have a bit of exhaustion, but if you look at the daily chart, volume continues to diminish each day. So nothing really A+, but just keeping it on watch because it's a recent multi-day runner and continues to fail up against resistance. PSTV, a little bit of a first green day there today. Not super ideal. I see the merit in it. Couple red days sideways off of these 120s. I think this is more of a B grade setup for me. I did think about it right through here in the 140s, but I just wasn't really looking to be trading small caps given the capitulation in the overall markets. I felt that's where edge was off the open, so decided not to be taking this one. But same kind of thing. You get all this volume right down here, sub 120s, so not a shock. That's why it held their support off of day 1's volume resistance. You can see not a whole lot the following days. So I think this is bullish until 120s start to fail and peak out. This could be a big morning move or a big first day move, pull back, consolidate, and as long as it's higher lows versus those 120s and re-breaks over these 180s, $2 in the coming days, could be a multi-day breakout on our hands. But for now, I'm assuming this has pushed, squeezed out into prior resistance, and I'd look to join that fade if 120s fail to fall through. Orgo, same kind of thing. We had that big front side move. Now we've got pullback, lower high, and if this $5 gives way, it's chopping right on it for the last couple days. More times it hits it, little bouncing ball. I think once it eventually cracks, I think we get a nice buck a share fade. Reddit, I'm interested weak opens if SPY continues to stay strong, but I do think odds favor a gap up in continuation the same way that it happened on the backside. I think happens on the front side or backside of this bounce, whichever way you want to look at it. But I think odds favor a gap up follow through, contingent on how the CPI report. If CPI inflation comes in a bit too high, then that crushes the markets and the trend, the bounce that they attempted to have there today. Josh, what's going on? Jeff, how are you? And then a few other names adding from today. We had a multi-day run here in SNOA going from 2 to 450. You can see volume right here off the open. Once it fails to follow through, nice pullback. So I think that there is room back. The daily 4 EMA is sitting right in the 270, 280 range. Hasn't gone red yet in 1, 2, 3 days. So I think this is going to be off most people's radar and possible quiet fader. Look for a 350, 360 shove. We got prior resistance, prior resistance, prior support, prior support, prior support. it became resistance. So I think this level here, over under, is key. And as long as we can exhaust and fail to follow through off that level, I think we sit back towards those high 2s. And then DWTX, 1, 2, 3-day move. Multi-day run going up from 4 to the 12s. This one is a promo. It does have a, what would you want to call it? Like a, it's not really a newsletter, but they're putting out pump mailers. I guess it'd be like a mailer pump. Right here on this day is what got the name moving in pre-market. It actually didn't move. The mailers came out like 7 a.m. that day, so impressive. It didn't really have much volume until market open. But possible parabolic, parabolic short for a first red day. Hasn't respected green to red given the week open today. You can see right through here, did open red but immediately went green. Today's opening range lows was the low a day for the rest of the day. Prior 2 days that didn't happen, and especially given how the volume is trending, looking a bit like GV, where the higher it goes, the lower the volume is. Makes it a bit tough, but first time it did go red, did have a bit of a pull, so I would be a bit more proactive on the cover side, but I do think there is a short-term opportunity given that it's pushing up into prior daily resistance, maybe like a 10 or 15% pull red, nothing crazy, nothing, what do you call it, debilitating, but I think there is some range for a pullback. So those will be my watches for tomorrow. I will leave it there. I can throw a link. There's a 2-week trial going on at IU. Let me see here. I'll just put my Twitter link in the chat, and then I will throw it in the video description right there. If anyone wanted to give it a try, I forget what the $49 for 2 weeks. There's no auto renewal. It's a one-time payment, so they're not trying to get your credit card, get you in the door, and then just keep billing you. That's not how they work. So it just kind of gives everybody an idea of what there is in IU. It's not just Nate in there anymore. So there is some added value. So for $50, you can give it a try for 2 weeks and get full access to what Investors Underground has to offer. So if you're interested, feel free to check it out. No pressure. But other than that, I'll see the rest of you guys for the next watch list. Trade them well, stay safe. Talk to you later.